It's Wizards versus Lesbians, a podcast for your ears. Hello and welcome to Wizards versus Lesbians. My name is Isaac.
I'm Alexis.
And today we are discussing Eat the Ones You Love by Sarah Griffin.
Yes.
Would you like to do the plot?
I'll try. So Shell is a bisexual Irish millennial who is, like many millennials, unemployed and stuck at home with her parents. And she sees a help wanted sign at the florist's in a dying mall. And so she applies for the job, gets it, and finds out that, well, the people at the dying mall are very cool. Something creepy is definitely going on at the flower shop, even particularly involving the hot lesbian owner of the flower shop.
Something's going on at the flower shop.
Yes. This was, I believe I saw this pitched as Little Shop of Horrors, but with Irish lesbians. Or, you know, bisexuals.
I would have gone with that. Like, it really...
Well, you can just cut my rambling attempt to explain the what's going on.
No. Additional details are important, and also, like, you know, people's names and such. Like, I often wonder about how followable our discussions are for folks who haven't read the books, because I assume that some people listen to episodes for books they haven't read. But rather than taking you through it, we give you that 5-second plot summary, and then on with the show.
Yes.
So, does this book have wizards in it?
You know, I think that Baby counts as a wizard.
Yeah, absolutely. Baby is doing the classic wizard stuff in this book,
yep.
and sort of really hamming it up too.
Yes.
And lesbians?
I'm pretty sure that Nev is a lesbian. Certainly, there's a sapphic, and Dr. Jen is lesbian. So yes, there are lesbians. And there's also a sapphic romantic-ish relationship at the core of the story.
Yes. Wizards and lesbians in conflict?
Oh, yeah.
In, like, personally compromising ways, and in non-conflict.
Yes.
And, you know,
but there's definitely there's definitely at least one lesbian who is in conflict with the wizard of the story.
Yep. We have... Somehow, 135 episodes in, we have found yet another Wizards versus Lesbians book.
Yes. And this one, we're only stretching the definition of wizard a little bit.
The plant even goes on about how magic he is.
Yeah.
I think that he counts.
And so do I.
No matter what, honestly. All right. So why should you read this one?
You know, I actually found it to be just like a fairly entertaining read.
Yeah. I think it does interesting things. I think it's like, it's one of our, like, ambitious weird guys, I think.
Yes, I agree. I think it's a little bit less weird than some of the like, it's a little more polished, but it nonetheless retains some fundamental weirdness and a willingness not to tie everything up too neatly, both of which I really appreciated.
Yeah, it's a good sort of middle ground between, like, your complete messes, even though, of course, we always enjoy our complete messes.
We personally love your complete messes, but the complete messes are often hard to find published by, you know, a major trade publisher. This is, I think, about as weird as you can get away with, you know, with a major trade publisher, which I say, having not even bothered to check whether or not this is out by a major trade publisher.
Mm.
Yeah, it's Tor. Okay, cool.
So there is that to be said for it. And as you said, I think it's just an enjoyable read. It's surprising. It's funny in places. Sometimes I'm not entirely sure whether it's being funny on purpose or not, but, you know, who cares? And also, if you like things being incredibly Irish, this book is, I would say, aggressively Irish, having been written by an Irish person with Irish characters in Ireland. And so, you know, if you like that, there you go. It's
got plant horror, if you like plant horror. It's got millennial ennui, if you like millennial ennui. And is, you know, also not too long. And it's got good, memorable characters. Like, you know, they do a good job with the characterization, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree. by and large.
Like, I was able to keep track of who everyone was, fairly efficiently.
Yeah, no. The one critique I have of the characterization is was actually increased my enjoyment of the book. We can get to that later.
Does it involve the intervention?
No, although that is in fact my favorite part of the book.
Yes,
which we will get to later.
Yes.
That also leads to another problem that I have with the book. But again, this is not like why you shouldn't read it level stuff. This is just like, critique of something that is doing something, and we can talk about the ways in which it does or does not do those things. It's the critique of something that is doing something, and we can talk about the ways in which it does or doesn't do these things. As to why you shouldn't read it, a lot of it's going to be in the content warnings. This is not one for the tripophobes.
Yeah.
I think it's the messiness does extend a little bit to like a pretty loose, shaggy pace.
Yeah.
And the plotting is a little bit cheaty.
Yep.
But I think it does a pretty good job of establishing itself as something that is not about that. It's not about a tight plot. But if it's a tight plot that you're looking for in your little shop of horrors, take off, then this one isn't for you.
Yeah, no, I would agree. The plot, and I actually like how it doesn't wrap up super neatly. But I think some people might find the ending kind of frustrating.
Perhaps, yeah, or really sort of a lot of the whole ending climactic sequence, maybe.
Yeah, I don't mean like the denouement exactly. I mean the way that you sort of go from this kind of dreamy meandering to a bunch of climactic, somewhat actiony stuff happens all at once, and then you get your kind of weird denouement.
We need to resolve the plot moment is, as it often is in books that are more interested in establishing vibes.
Mm-hmm.
A bit awkward when it arrives.
Yep.
But beyond that, I just thought this one was pretty cool. Honestly,
yeah, I enjoyed
it. I think it's worth a read if you like horror, and
yeah.
if you find the idea of a little shop of horrors but Irish lesbians / bisexuals interesting.
I have a fairly low horror tolerance and was able to get through this, but you do have to have some horror tolerance.
Mm-hmm. And on to the content warnings here. It's mostly like the book's body horror is a bit more like strident than some.
Yeah.
In terms of stuff going in you. So
yeah, plant horror, body horror,
infections and
and
mind control.
Yep.
That kind of stuff. Just to be aware of.
I mean, also, it's a plant horror book called Eat the Ones You Love, so you can probably get a sense of what's going to happen to some people.
You don't really need us to tell you this, probably.
Does this count as cannibalism? I think it feels cannibalism adjacent.
It definitely feels close enough to cannibalism, yeah. But it could have been much more cannibalistic.
Yeah, I would agree.
If it had gone different direction with the way that sort of the plant works on these people.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't involve any like plant vor stuff.
Yeah.
So, that's either a relief or a disappointment, depending on what kind of reader I'm talking to at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't a content warning, but I should have mentioned it earlier. I think it's not a coincidence that you use the word millennial like twice in your like 5-second plot recap.
Yeah. Well, it's extreme. It's just very much about, it's very much about being unemployed and too old to be living with your parents and making poor romantic decisions when, again, you're too old to be doing that. And everyone around, and being trapped between sort of everyone around you being either really successful in doing everything that you're supposed to be doing, or kind of a loser.
And yeah, as also was mentioned, content warning for one of our real classic horrible dinner parties.
Yes.
Wizards versus Lesbians trope number 5, the horrible dinner party. Rears its head. I should make a master list at some point.
Yes.
So, but having said that, let's head on to the book itself.
Yeah.
This is also a story where everybody's drinking all the time, which you may have been able to infer from context clues. That's not really a prime Wizles trope. Here are the top 5 of those as far as I can remember them. You got number 1, the wizard that lives inside your head. Number 2, the monstrous child of a narcissistic parent. Number 3, the token good man. Number 4, cannibalism. And number 5, the horrible dinner party. Sometimes you get 4 and 5 together. Spoiler zone. All right. To pick up the threads of a couple of things that I mentioned during the intro, the one character beat that I think is objectively a little weak, but which made me chuckle a lot was the American, and how the American is clearly still Irish.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yeah, no, that was, there's several things where I was like, okay, maybe I can believe that she's been in Ireland so long that she's starting to pick up some of, some speech tics, except she just does not sound like an American.
No, and the little ways in which in which her American bona fides are showed up, like feeling a powerful sense of comfort and nostalgia when she walks into a McDonald's. I want to talk about her Americanness and how I think it works with the symbol language here.
Oh yeah, let's. That sounds fun. So this is Dr. Jen, the love interest's ex-girlfriend.
Yes, who is an American from America, and that is a very major part of who she is, along with being a doctor, but not that kind of doctor, even though everybody treats her like she is that kind of doctor, which is, I think, also a running gag with her.
Yes.
My favorite bit of that being when she's about to drive home across the country and has had a few drinks and is like, "No, I'm all right. I'm fine." And the other character thinks, "It's all right. She must know. She's a doctor."
Right. It's like, she's a botanist.
A, she's a botanist. B, that still doesn't work.
Right.
And it's delivered, and that's not something that she says. It's delivered in the third person narration, and not the plant's third person narration. One of the very cool things about this book is that we got 2 kinds of third person narration going on,
yes.
which we can get back to.
We have we have the fake third, which is the plant talking, and which is first disguised as third, and then we have actual third.
Which does raise the question of who's the other narrator, But what kind of mysterious sting was that? I'll put in a better mysterious jingle than who was Carr jingle.
So let's talk about the American.
The American. So the original Little Shop of Horrors, right? Audrey represents like baby, right? And this plant is called Baby. And the whole point of the original Little Shop of Horrors is that these 2 poor people are dreaming of establishing themselves as successes in the world, but they had a kid too early, and it's draining them of all of their time and money so that they can't achieve those dreams. That's just, my pocket reading of the original. In this one, it's not having a kid, because these are millennials.
Right.
And failing to have a kid is sort of a more pressing weight on them. Baby here represents Ireland, as far as I can tell.
I mean, Baby is, I think, also represents the toxic relationship that you can't get out of. But
yeah, no, it's one of those books where like the symbols can be doing multiple things at once and it doesn't feel like, to reuse our favorite word, overdetermined. But one of the things that Baby represents is Ireland. And
I think really Baby represents a sort of toxic nostalgia, which is I think that the book is positing is dragging down both Ireland and also millennials.
Actually, like, this is sort of one of the things that I was thinking about throughout the book is like how critical are we being, and how much do we agree with the horror tropes here?
Yeah, there's a lot of ambivalence around them all, and
yeah, it feels like, and this makes sense with the book where they're not fully able to drag themselves away from the plant even at the end, that they're we are not immune to the idea of nostalgia, and we are not immune to the idea of toxic Yuri. It's, literally toxic Yuri in this case.
Yes, an overabundance of nightshades.
Yep. And sort of pitting that against the, the sort of the classic, well, you need to grow up sometime, and get over this toxic malaise feeling that is part of the millennial narrative. But the way that the book posits America in relation to Ireland is interesting to me, both in the way that the American character is at least initially immune to the toxic Irish nostalgia. And the way that I'm calling it Ireland in big letters is because the plant tries to murder her by drowning her in Irish moss.
Yes. Also,
and returning her to a peat bog, essentially.
Right. And also, I think you're definitely right about that reading, because we also have poor Kiro, who everyone is like, kid, there's still hope for you. Kid, he's still in his 20s. There's still hope for you. You can get out of Ireland.
You must leave the country.
You must leave the country.
You're a talented one. Leave. What are you still doing here? Which, anybody who's from like a backwater can feel that. But, one hopes that the backwater isn't your entire nation.
Right. And he gets, and his happy ending is, in fact, that he makes it to London. And does he seem particularly happy there?
The utopia that is London in 20,
right.
Whatever this is. It's slightly hard to put your finger on what 20 whatever this is, partially because this book was written over a fairly long period of time, so the references are a little bit elastic. Also because I'm not sure what year it is in Dublin that the Dead Mall is still around. These are things that vary from country to country and polity to polity, depending on what the economy is doing.
That said, it's at least in the Instagram exists, and
the meme writing the weed man for weed exists, although they use the Irish writing instead of fucking, which is also very charming, which is, I think, a meme of relatively recent coinage. So there's a little bit of temporal elasticity there.
I feel like it is probably in the 2020s. It is this decade.
Yes. The millennialness of it all is extremely clear, as we said before. These millennials be brunching. But it is the I really love, like, there's sort of this bang of comedy bits on the American one. She miraculously, and this is the first part where I was like, okay, where the plant like invades all of her orifices with moss and then like literally buries her after having consumed her entire car, but she's fine.
Well, she's a little shaken, but yes,
she's a little shaken.
She drags
nothing that
herself...
a night of drinking in an old Irish pub won't fix.
Right, she drags herself out of, her mossy grave, coughing up bits of plant and soil, and then like staggers however many kilometers down to the old Irish pub, where they're just like, were you in an accident?
But it's the way that her, like, that section, the Jen comes to the rescue section, incidentally, the most American name possible, Jennifer.
Right.
That section begins with her passing the Barack Obama travel plaza, which I looked up, which is real.
Excellent. I figured it must be.
They erected a travel plaza, including 2 life-size statues of Barack and Michelle Obama, because Barack Obama's great-great-grandfather was from around there. And, like, if you want to establish that your country has cucked energy, that, like, you will elect a statue to a foreign head of state because his great-great-grandfather came from this particular area. Like, you could not do a better job of establishing
Yeah.
So, like, I think we're dealing with a little bit of internalized self-hatred here, just a touch,
or at least some wrestling with that.
Yes, it's also
because
that,
also like you don't put that in there unless you're aware of the irony. I think.
No, that's 100% correct. No. Like, these jokes are not there accidentally. I will say that. But unfortunately, this leads into what I think is actually kind of a problem with the narrative, which is that Shell is such a loser.
She is.
Like, she is sort of, at least in theory, the protagonist of this book, right? And I'm not calling her a loser for all the reasons that her horrible friends are concerned about her.
Right.
Which we should get into that more later also.
Oh yes, absolutely.
But like, she does absolutely nothing in this book. Like, she and is then kind of rewarded for it. Jen the American has to come in and do everything. In concert with the one person at the mall who kind of has her life together, the travel agent. And we know that she kind of has her life together because she wears this flight attendant's uniform to work every day, which gives her an aura of authority and like having her life together that the plant can't penetrate.
I mean, I think it's also just that, like, she has a job that she's happy with.
Yeah. And it's also interesting that it's like, contrasting this with how we as Americans are primed to think about like what's desirable. Like, the fact that she has a job with a franchise sort of gives her an edge here, as opposed to a mom and pop shop. The most like neck snapping bit of cultural disconnect here is that there are butcher shops in the mall.
Yes.
Like local independent. Like, the fact that there's only one butcher shop left in the mall instead of like multiple butcher shops which used to be in the mall is a sign of decline and decay, which is like very interesting concept from an American point of view. But
at least for an indoor mall.
For an indoor mall, certainly, yeah.
And I mean, I don't know, because like we were saying about how much of this is supposed to be, condemnation. I mean, like, the mall is clearly dying and is dragging everyone else down with it, and is also full of deadly nightshade and also an evil carnivorous, like, human-eating plant. But not everyone, I mean, part of the thing is that Shell seems to really see the mall as, oh, finally I can be one among many lovable losers. But, like, half the people at the mall do have their shit together.
Yeah, they appear to be owning and running their own businesses.
Right, like, and Daniel, I think that's his name, when the hair place, when he loses his hair place, he's like, great, I'll just be a mobile hair cutter. The little old ladies still love me. And again, Beck, the travel agent, just goes and works for the head office in her franchise. So it seems like, it almost feels like, the book is, that Shell is sort of approaching life with this very, I think, millennial false dichotomy of either you get to have this, perfect life, social media perfect life, like all of her ex-friends and her ex almost fiance,
yeah, or
you're a loser who works in the mall, and she's decided, well, she's just going to be the loser who works in the dying mall, but she can and her ex-friends definitely agree with her that this is, loser life and she needs an intervention. But like, there's clearly a third way here, which is you can actually just sort of lead a smaller life that's nonetheless paying the bills and keeping you happy.
Yeah. And like, the book is aware of this dynamic.
Right.
Kiro calls her out on it specifically.
Yes. Yeah, he absolutely does.
When she says something condescending about the place where they both work. And he's like, could you maybe not do that? And it's like really funny that a person who is like 10 years younger than she is correcting her on that point. But part of what I was saying is that the reason Shell is actually a loser is not that she's ended up working at the mall. It's that she cannot extricate herself from this social milieu that she is in.
She cannot extricate herself from anything.
Yes, that she in fact does not have any direction, and that even after self-righteously cutting herself off from her horrible friends after the world's worst baby shower / hen party, where she self-righteously knocks a plate of hot scampi out of a pregnant woman's hands as her great gesture of rebellion.
I mean, I have some sympathy for her there, given that, she shows up to a baby shower and is informed that not only is this an intervention, but her ex is on the way to confront her.
Oh, no, they're being awful. They're being horrible. But it's been clear from the jump that all of her friends are awful. Like, she is, like, I don't think the book is trying to, I think the book is trying to make all of her friends and her entire social milieu seem like horrible and losery. I keep saying the word loser to perhaps offensively to describe these people, but hollow,
hollow, awful people.
Awful, like people who you wouldn't want to spend any time with. Like that's established. And that's, if you didn't get it, then this scene is there to make sure that you get it.
Right.
And you are meant to feel like, and you're meant to, I think, sympathize with her scampi flipping, and the petty triumph of leaving the door open when she stormed out, so they'll have to close it behind her.
But I mean, I think that part of what's going on in all of this is that, by this point, she's already falling under the plant's control. Right? Like, baby's already, like, baby is there in the bouquet and is whispering to her as she goes, and, and she grabs the bouquet on the way out. Like, she leaves everything else. And if she were really making a gesture, she'd have left the bouquet. But she doesn't. She grabs the bouquet because she is already under baby's control and can't just leave this bouquet of baby there.
Well, baby kind of... Baby does say that he kind of wanted to be left
baby
behind.
Baby wants to be left there specifically so that, he can hear whatever they're saying and feel, malicious about it and amused. But the thing is that the relationship with baby isn't about doing everything he wants them to do. It's about, clinging to this toxic, quite literally, toxic being, and sort of bringing him further and further and further into their lives. And, that's what happens with Nev as a teenager. And now is what's happening to Shell. And I mean, I think part of what's going on with both Shell and with Nev as a teenager, and part of why, Shell is such a loser, is that these are the people who get picked for grooming. It's teenagers and incredibly passive, depressed people who, aren't necessarily, who aren't able to extricate themselves from any kind of awkward relationship. So, if you want to tell a story about somebody getting sucked into an abusive relationship by a predator, unfortunately, the protagonist kind of has to be passive and unlikable for it to be a realistic version of the story.
Yeah. And that seems like a good segue to talking about Baby.
Yes.
And what he's up to in this narrative. Besides,
Eating
cleverly hiding in the narrative before he puts his little tendrils out to let you know that he's there, in a very smug sort of a way. And, I think there's a couple of different overlapping and non-contradictory readings that you can do about Baby. One of which, obviously, is, cult leader, abuser. You could have made him just a guy, possibly the guy who owns the mall, or a guy who's has the influence to, get people kicked out of the mall because he's been there forever, et cetera, et cetera. There's definitely a, prurient male desire around lesbians aspect of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I think may even, cross over that horror movie line to, is because all of the strong lesbian desire in this book is adjacent to the plant. Is it makes it, and I think the book's he says, although the extent to which you can believe him is another question. Obviously, he's not going to be the most reliable narrator in the world. That it is not, in fact, literal lesbian pollen that he is pollinating them with. It was there already. It wasn't me, which feels like a way for the book to flinch away from some of the more uncomfortable implications of this setup, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But that's certainly there. And so, I think that there is a reading here where he's like, oh, much like in Saw Kill Girls. Actually, he's not unlike the demon in Saw Kill Girls in terms of his narrative voice and his role in the story, needing to be fed and everything. Where this
his tastes are a lot broader, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's a much better book.
Yes.
And he's a much smarter creature than the demon in Saw Kill Girls. But I think it may share that slight flinch away from sex generally. That sort of disgust and horror with the body and with like attractions that are not normative and which run away with you. Because the way that his control works, definitely the fulcrum of it is the immediate sexual desire that Shell has for Nev.
Yeah.
The Saw-Kill demon likes pretty girls. The plant likes alt girls, but doesn't like it when they smoke. The demon's never heard of lesbians. The plant supports them, but also would like to be invited to the threesome. The Saw-Kill demon is a stupid normie. The Saw-Kill demon is a stupid normie. The plant is the guy who runs your local indie scene. Kinda Calvin Johnson, but with tentacles.
I mean, I think that this is one of the other roles that Dr. Jen plays in the narrative, is to be like, no, you can also be a lesbian and be really into women without being under toxic plant influence.
Yes, although the fact that she does sort of end up getting suborned at the end.
At the very end, yes.
In the twist ending undermines that a little bit, even though I think that's because we needed the twist ending, the little Audrey's growing in the yard, in the white picket fence yard at the end of Little Shop of Horrors. We need some sort of, or did they, ending on this one. But it does.
This one definitely needed that. It was the right choice. It does somewhat, except that, again, like, she ends up suborned, but it's clear, she's been clearly Jen has been a lesbian her whole life.
Clearly that, no. And like the first missive that we get from her, in her extremely American sounding, not at all Irish sounding prose that she writes in that letter, is, oh, Tal Shoban, I sure wish I could climb her like a tree. I'm a lesbian,
Right.
So, that is trying to take the curse off it to a certain extent, I think. But I'm just saying that I think that there's enough of that reading there if you want it.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
But there's also like, the baby also has like the I'm a writer monster feel about it, which we have encountered a few times in Wizards versus Lesbians, because he doesn't just want to devour their bodies, he wants to devour their feelings and their experiences, and not just like their sexual feelings, but their emotional feelings. Like he wants to possess and control all of their stories.
Yes, and eat their memories. And
I think there's a fun sort of like the author's dead butt reading here, where it's like, in the author's note, the author of this book says that this idea came to her when she was training to be a florist, which comes through in like in the very sort of granular detail of what working in a florist shop is like.
Yeah.
And the ruminations about how this looks like it's full of life, but it's actually full of decay and, weird biological processes.
And your hands are cold all the time. And
yeah. And like the strain of wrapping wire around things and cutting yourself, etc. But it also, to me, it feels like a neat bifurcation of that exercise, like in a way that will be familiar to somebody who is a creative person and is like, while undergoing the difficult thing, will be like, oh, I bet I can make some art about this.
Yes.
In some part of their brain, where it's like there's on the one hand her XP, who's this complete fucking loser, who she is satirizing, and on the other hand, there is the author part of her brain, the plant that is like, I will consume this experience for art, like in the atrium over there. So not again, I'm not saying that is exactly what happened here, but I think that's also a way that you could sort of read this, if you wanted to.
Yeah, no, I think that also works.
Maybe we should talk about the promise ring, or maybe not. She gave her lesbian heart to the story-eating thing. Need we go on?
Actually, so no, there was something about the sort of, baby wanting to eat everything, which is, and is also, I think, about Jen's ability to be suborned or not suborned by the plant, which is, of course, the thing that ends up killing Nev is when Shell, steals her lesbian promise ring that she exchanged with Jen. And, even though and this is again where I really think that a lot that, toxic nostalgia is the core theme here, is because, Nev is still wearing her, just like how Shell cannot extricate herself from her awful, awful friends. Like, Nev just cannot, is still carrying the ring with her ex's hair around it. And baby has to have even that, like, even this one thing, one thing left over from the relationship, and that in fact getting that, and that, this represents her heart, and then which baby's very upfront about, and then eating this is the thing that allows Nev to get eaten against her will. Like, she's fed everything in her life to this carnivorous plant except this one thing, and this one thing can be stolen from her, which I liked that it's at no point is she ever forced to give it up. It's just, but it can still be stolen from her. And which I think is, I think that's kind of key in showing that this is a predatory relationship, is that there's a point in this, again, I think fairly well depicted predatory relationship where even where she draws boundaries, she's not allowed to keep them. And even in the places where she can't be forced to give up her boundaries, they can still be violated.
100%. And I mean, and it is through her wanting to trust Shell that allows that to take place. But it is also true that Nev is, in bringing Shell into this, is also implicating her in a series of murders.
Right. And in a series, and also drawing her into this, relationship where somebody is going to be eaten.
Yes, there is a wildly surface level reading where it's just this is what being somebody's rebound feels like. The whole thing, including the plant monster.
Yes, there's also that. I mean, they're each other's toxic rebound.
Right, exactly. Mutual reboundage is occurring.
And then there's poor Kiro, who's also a toxic rebound.
Oh, poor Kiro. He deserves better.
Well, this is why he gets to go off to London. And is this a good ending for him? But at least it gets him away from everyone, including Ireland.
God, Shell treats him so badly.
She really does. There's the whole thing at the end where he and Shell are still texting, and Shell is like, well, and Shell can tell that his enthusiasm for the correspondence is waning. And it's like, wow, this guy who, has been dating the 10 years older chick and has been like the sweetest, most supportive possible, not, no strings attached, would be serious as she wants. Like, he if it weren't for Daniel, he would be the token good man here. He's almost unrealistically perfect. And is his enthusiasm for the correspondence really waning? Or is it just that, Shell is moving on and she can't even convince herself to, like, be vaguely invested in this texting relationship anymore?
The real, like, the thing with Shell where she is like, oh, I am feeling some attraction to this guy. Oh, he's 10 years younger than me. And then the next thought is not, oh, I should be careful with him because I'm the one who's older and has more experience. It is, oh, that makes him essentially disposable.
Right.
which is just so in keeping with Shell's character up until this point. And like, it's one of the ways that this all loops back into the sort of the toxic nostalgia theme that I think that we've identified as the overarching theme that ties all of this together, is how paranoid Shell is at all times that she might still be the person she was in high school.
Yes. Which, and it's funny because at the end, like, that's what actually pulls her out of this, is her friendship, is like her high school friend. And it sounds like she was actually kind of cool in high school.
Yeah, it's really like shedding all of the layers of bullshit that her expectations for how you become a success in this society have layered on her, that allow her to be okay in the end and allow her to maybe grow the vestiges of something resembling a personality out of her, like, you know, she was in a band in high school. She was a cool kid in high school. Like the weird inversion of what I, from my standpoint, would consider cool here is really interesting. And it may just be just like, not to be all Mr. Economic Conditions about it, but it's like, when everybody's not struggling, like, or not struggling to the same extent, like, being a punker is cooler than when it's what you do because you have no money at all ever, and you know, then the cool thing becomes becoming the Instagram person who applies, you know, all of the bath time unguents, which this book spends a lot of time talking about, and uploads your selfies.
I mean, the thing is that I think we're supposed to understand that she was actually cool in high school. Because Daniel, who is, you know, one of the more likable people in this book, you know, Daniel was also in a band in high school and remembers her as that. And at first she's just paralyzed with terror that this is, you know, going to result in all of the, you know, and her new coworkers thinking that she's uncool. But no, like, I think even in this situation, I mean, it is the sort of thing that her awful toxic friend group is going to look back and be like, oh, that was so cringe. You were in a band in high school. But yeah, that those of us who are reading, you know, speculative fiction, plant horror, lesbian book are, I think, meant to understand, no, this is cool. And being into being a florist isn't inherently cool or lame. It depends on what you do with it. Working in the dying mall, you know, you can definitely see the sort of nostalgia romance appeal of it. But
yeah, it's this. I think this is really the tension that underpins the whole book, and that is why parts of it feel like really sort of unsettled and unresolved at the end.
Which I think is what makes it work, though.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like I'm saying this with I'm holding my thumbs up.
Okay. Nodding like, approvingly.
The tension between, like, you know, sort of burying oneself in this nostalgia, like surrendering to this sort of decay, is bad, but also it is your journey into this that breaks you out of this horrible false world. I really, by the way, enjoyed the horrific, like, social media crawlback that she does when it gets too real.
Yeah.
Like that was some of the most unpleasant and uncomfortable parts, like way more unpleasant and uncomfortable than getting, like, you know, plants burrowing through your skin.
Right.
Is like going back and unblocking everybody and being like, oh, I hope you had a good time at your party. You know, That was like, oh. Navigating that tension between diving directly into the kind of toxic nostalgia that turns you into a teenage burnout at the age of 40, and also not becoming like the Instagram people which is sort of a fate worse than death in its own way.
This book certainly makes a pretty convincing argument for that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's sort of the fun thing, because I'm not sure that the book is 100% sure how it feels about that, and it communicates that uncertainty, which is nice.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I think also some of that tension is the, like, okay, but, you know, there is something appealing about the sort of ghosts of our teenage years, and and like digging into the decay of it all, right?
I think that the real meaning, the real valence with Shell's crush on Nev is that it is a crush.
Right.
It's a teenage high school style crush, not like the queerness aside. I think that the book is hoping that we can just accept that it could be a boy or a girl, whatever.
I mean, Shell is openly bi, and I think that some of this is about the kind of the journey that you take if you're writing off the sort of conventional life path, and part of the way that journey is successful is you have to connect to your incredibly cringe high school self, and there's toxic ways of doing that and healthy ways of doing that. And I think part of Shell's cringy high school self was that she was openly bi, and that, she has plastered over that to be, oh, well, it's cringe to be too openly queer. And so, you obviously she has this Instagram perfect boyfriend, and that, that reconnecting to that, even, it's not that she ever, I think, disavowed it, but reconnecting to that as a possibility is, again, one of these things. And of course, she makes a horrible mess of it, but she still has to do that to remember what it was like to be a whole person.
I was going to say, and in fact, I'm going to add this back to the content warnings, that maybe one of the things that you shouldn't do when you're trying to reconnect with your high school authenticity is to drink like you're in high school. But unfortunately, everybody in this book drinks like they're in high school all the time.
I do wonder, and one of the things I wonder, having...
I'm trying not to write this off as Ireland.
I was going to be like, is this just a cultural difference?
It's kind of a UK cultural difference, like drinking culture throughout. I mean, not that Ireland is part of the UK, I know, but drinking culture throughout that entire sphere is like different than it is here. I will say that it is much more normal to be drunk all the time. It's actually part of the current culture war things in the UK, that like one of the things they're trying to scare people about like young urban like left-leaning people is that they don't drink anymore.
I mean, it's true that kids these days don't seem to drink very much anymore.
But this is literally part of the culture war generation gap discourse in at least in the UK right now.
I've also heard a Canadian shake her head sadly over this.
This is specifically current in the UK right now because a new young MP unwisely complained in public that all of her colleagues in Parliament were drunk all the time. So the papers immediately ran with how the kids today are so soy and gay that they aren't even drunk at work. They wait until evening to go to trendy bars. Disgusting. It is interesting how like part of like Jen's heroic ride to the rescue is just getting incredibly drunk at the Irish bar where the farmers are also in, all drinking at like 5 a.m. Is this normal? Ireland, is this normal?
I don't know. If we have any Irish listeners, hopefully they can tell us.
But yes.
Anyway, I think one of the things that I also enjoyed is that part of Shell's journey is part of her this sort of awkward stage that she has to go through to, try to become a full person again, is the stage where she's trying to like Instagram spin her pivot. She's now she's working in a flower shop, and clearly that's not cool by the standards of her old crowd. But she's going to try really hard to make it cool by Instagramming all these bouquets. And in the end, it kind of works because it helps her get a job at another florist.
Yeah. The book is like, Instagram may be cringe, but it is also perhaps going to be your ticket to working at a slightly less necrotic, florist job, which might actually be cool. So, one does in the end have to make a living. But after having, become that person, you may still want to sit down and drink some psilocybin tea to experience what it was like to be a teenager again. That your cool doctor friend sends you from the lab.
Yeah, so let's talk about the end, the sort of, or are they, where it's like, okay, not even Jen is entirely free. She stayed in Ireland too long. She's been dragged into, the toxic nostalgia of it all. Even Americans, it turns out, are not immune to toxic millennial nostalgia.
It turns out that a great way to make an American not fall for Ireland is to put them directly into central Dublin. Rather than out in the green fields. And so that keeps her safe for a while, and then she moves out there and softens a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, but it's also all of Jen's, boy, I sure am a lesbian. Boy, I wish I could, climb the tall, hot woman in my lab like a tree. Is clearly her projecting, oh, look how over my ex I am. I'm so over my ex that, in fact, I keep asking you questions about, is my ex still involved in possible plant homicide? Assisting a plant in human homicide? I really think that there's some actual crimes going on here, but I don't want to sound like a toxic ex, so...
There might have been like one too many of those letters from a pacing perspective.
From a pacing perspective, absolutely. They were really funny, though.
But they're really funny. I really enjoyed them. It's also, if you want me to believe even for a second that Jen has been killed, don't spend all of that time setting her up.
To have her
be like, oh, we've wasted an entire third of the book if you just killed her off.
I think, and the thing is that I don't think we're supposed to think it's killed. We're just supposed to believe that Baby does, because there's no, it immediately, after she dies, it immediately transitions into her crawling back onto the road, dusting herself off and being like, all right, it's on.
Time to go get incredibly drunk.
But talking about the end, where indeed, so, they've, almost all of Baby has been buried or possibly, destroyed, except they saved a cutting. It's being grown in the special rare orchid breeding lab or whatever. And that's all fine, except that Jen has apparently been eating leaves of it so that she can have a hallucinatory dream about Baby and her ex, and then she sends it to her ex's new ex, basically.
I mean, bonding with your ex's other ex is
classic lesbian culture, absolutely. But
I think that the ending is meant to feel a bit sinister, but actually, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Let's you get to have that tea and enjoy some.
I don't know.
Enjoy a nostalgic trip about your previous relationship. It may keep you from moving on.
Right, the thing that makes it sinister isn't, and now the plant is going to break containment, but it's, I mean, though if you're afraid of the plant that invades people's minds breaking containment, maybe you shouldn't be mailing samples of it to drink. But I think that the creepy thing here is that, none of these people can extricate themselves from Nev, and thus by extension from Baby, and thus by extension, they're never going to be able to actually lead the free and happy lives.
Yeah, I think it's definitely not an accident that Shell is not seeing anybody during her sort of happy ending denouement period.
I mean, which honestly is probably good for Shell, but also...
Yeah. No, I don't think it's a problem for her as a person. Incidentally, we're naming her Shell is not an enormous amount of subtlety.
No.
I enjoy that though. That is just like a swing for the fences kind of symbol,
yes.
Which I appreciate.
I think the book earns it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that it does manage to be really genuinely ambiguous about whether or not Baby is contained.
Yes, absolutely.
Because honestly, it doesn't matter. The scariest thing in the book isn't Baby. It's the economy.
Yes, it's having to make a living. Uh, I let's see here. Other stuff. Just notes time, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I appreciate always a book that has a lot of songs in it that I can then use to turn into jingles or jingle backgrounds. I thought that like giving her all of these sort of millennial and slightly pre-millennial angsty female vocalist signifiers was a good character beat.
Absolutely.
We all went through a metric period. And also enjoy the power, like we're going to fight the plant ballad that we listened to is Sheena Easton. And I'm wondering what Sheena Easton song it might be. Probably not My Baby Takes the Morning Train. Probably not that one.
Well, you can pick the most appropriate one.
Maybe Strut. I think it might be Strut. That sounds right. So I've just been referencing bands that I'm nostalgic about in this episode, so here's a mega mix of the songs that Shell isn't over. Oh, take me over, it's all I wanna be. Oh, walk and study in demonology. Come back, baby, come back, baby, fight off the lethargy. Don't go quietly. Combat baby takes the morning train. She takes another home again after working from 9 to 5, and then she finds me waiting for her. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. And I appreciate the way that the critter's actual face is just Flowey the Flower from Undertale. So, like a perfect daisy, basically, like a cartoon flower. I thought that was really cute.
Mm-hmm.
But that's probably about it.
I liked that Shell's parents are actually like okay. You know, they're not great, but being stuck with her parents isn't this horrible fate worse than death. It's just, again, really embarrassing and awkward. And for Shell, that's the worst possible thing in the world.
Yeah, like the thing with Shell is that she's actually doing fine. You know, she's just going through that midlife breakup career change thing.
Yeah, I mean, well, she's been laid off, and there don't seem to be any jobs in her career, in, like, her field. So that does suck, but...
Yeah, no, it sucks, but
yeah, she's
it
not...
It could suck so much worse.
Right, like, there's no existential threat here. She's always going to be fed, and her parents don't even hate her. I mean, I enjoy that she spends the walk home from the flower shop when she first goes to ask about, the help wanted sign. And, she spends the entire time, like, dreading having an awkward conversation with her family. Instead, her mom's just like, "You brought flowers! How nice!"
That felt very Irish to me somehow, purely based on a podcast that I listened to where, like, going around looking in any way notable in Ireland may get you accused of having notions. And like, oh, so you have flowers there. You must be doing something special. That it felt like that to me. Which like goes with the whole, agonizing self-doubt and self-hatred that underpins Shell as a character.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it is hard to tell how much of this is, as a cultural outsider, it is hard to tell how much of this is supposed to be Irish culture versus Shell specifically.
I think there's a little bit of, I mean, this is just, again, my guess, but it's a little bit of satirical overlap there, that one is meant to represent the other.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, the other thing to do is just, like, if you compare her to everybody else, no one else around her has nearly so many hang-ups about standing out a little bit. We never did talk about her awful date with Kira, which is the sort of thing that, could be kind of sweet, but there's just this, like, aura of doom hanging over it. because
liked it.
No, I liked it. It's just that knowing, like, understanding the context in another book, it would be sweet. It's cute. Kira's like just a genuinely sweet guy. It's, you know, it's sort of it's just the right amount of moody. You know, not like overly sappy. It has a sort of, you know, nice, like, they're still trying to figure each other out kind of vibe. But we're getting to see Shell's internal thoughts towards Kiro. And B, we understand, you know, that there's this other context overhanging it. And so I just really enjoyed the aura of doom that overhung that entire otherwise sweet and innocuous date.
Yeah, I was getting the sort of classic, is this one of those books where the only attraction that feels genuine is between a man and a woman, you know, kind of vibes from that scene. But that did not, I think, turn out to be a thing that was going on.
No, I felt equally sold on the chemistry between her and Kiro and her and Nave.
Yeah. Genuine bisexual representation here.
Yeah, good job there.
All right, I think that we've hit just about the end of this.
All right.
Next time I think it's After Party.
Sure is.
Looking forward to that.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye. See you later. Yesterday I did some things as an adult that you would expect. And then today, as a result, I did not regret them. I didn't think about the glory days or say, oh, how things have changed. I stayed firmly rooted in the right here and the right now. 'Cause there is no nostalgia, no nostalgia in this one. There is no nostalgia, no nostalgia in this one. I figure that anybody who's gotten this joke has gotten it already. All right, cool.